Amber and I and our team, we provide neighbors with their private neighborhood magazines. And we have a bunch of them going already, and then we're getting some new ones going for this area of Wheat Ridge and then West Highlands, so they're just adjacent to each other, bordering on Sheridan. And so we wanted to just let everybody know, what we're doing to our members of the Wheat Ridge Chamber, so you could share it, because there might be folks that are interested in participating. We're always looking for lots of partners to, create each issue, and we'll kind of go over the sponsorship information. So this is for like the local business who wants to sponsor something each month in the community in the form of the neighborhood publication. But we're also always looking for connections with, residents to be our featured residents on the cover of each issue. They get to be the celebrity for the month, which is really fun, and residents to write content who want to just share something they're passionate about. And
they just have to live within the distribution of the magazine. So we don't, we open it up to the residents. It's for the people, by the people,
yep.
And that's why people read these magazines.
Yeah, because it's all about, the neighbors. So we are Abundant Business Connections. There we go. So that's just our local team. So it's myself and Amber and some other folks. The publications that we have in print on the west side of Denver right now are Applewood, Golden, Green Mountain, and Northwest Arvada. And then we've got these two coming up, West Highlands and Wheat Ridge, and then we also have West Arvada, which is like the Westwoods neighborhood. So we're your one-stop shop for local legend meaningful marketing. So we help you become the local legend in the community or the sponsors, as well as the residents, because they get to be the celebrities. So we're currently working with about 120 different local businesses, and they are renewing in this area at 90%. So the campaigns in these publications are working really well for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to stay and play year after year. It's about $1.5 million that we're managing for them across all of those different neighborhood magazines in sponsorship dollars. And that's over a 1 to 3 year period. So what we do is not driven by, yesterday's information. We're really working with the neighbors on like what's happening today in the community, and we're connecting them with not only with each other, but with the best businesses in the area, that support them. And everything that we do is driven just by long-term sustainable results and building that relationship with the neighbors, not, one-hit wonder kind of coupon type of mailing, but more you're, sponsoring the community so they know you're providing value and then have that relationship with them. So there's 4 steps to what we're doing for our sponsors. So we first give you access to the neighborhood magazine where you get to tell that authentic story, right, about the business, about the family behind the business. Most of our sponsors will do a questionnaire for us where we can write an article about them, which is a business profile. So it's fun because the people get to know the person, not the business. And so that's really nice because you build that relationship and they learn about where you went to high school and what they've been doing in the community, which they probably already know about Joe, but you'd be a good cover family too. So they're effective for the emotional side of decision making, these campaigns, because the people really know you versus just, the business. And all of the publications feature that family on the cover or resident. So like we had Amanda Weaver, who owns 5 Fridges Farm. She was our Applewood featured resident for this month, and she was a lot of fun to work with. She also sponsors the magazine. So sometimes, the business owner that sponsors also lives in the neighborhood, and so then they'll do both, and participate in lots of ways in the publication. So these folks get to be the celebrities for the month, and most of them are not sponsors, they're just residents that volunteer to, be on the cover. When they do that, they get a photo shoot with a local photographer, so that's our gift to them for, spending time and effort with us on putting the publication together that month, and then we interview them and have an article all about them in the publication. So you'll see those examples.
And this really makes it like social media in print, right? So you know your neighbors, you see them walk your dog, you see them at the grocery store, you see them at the gym. So it's like, yeah, people want to read about their neighbors. So it's like, people getting something in the mailbox every month to read instead of scrolling all day on their phones. So that's why this is kind of making a comeback.
Yeah, and it's just fun because it's all good news too. Like I don't do a lot of scrolling on social media because I always get surprised by something terrible. Like, and that's not, then it brings me down and I don't like it. So what we do is only good news. We only share, positive things that are happening in the community. And it's nice to brand a business adjacent to positive things, which is fun.
And we're putting your ads next to engaging local content, which really brings a lot of eyeballs on it.
So we have sister publications through our publishing company. So you'll see like a little logo on there, Best Version Media. So they work with local folks like us across the US and Canada. So there's lots of Best Version Media neighborhood magazines out there. Most people don't know who they are because it's all behind the scenes, but they help us print and mail basically every month, which is great because I don't want to be in charge of that.
Yeah, we're not doing this in our basement, right? This is a professional, very slick magazine.
Yeah. So anyway, they've got publications everywhere. We're actually hiring publishers too. So if you know folks that are looking for a new adventure and they really love their neighborhood and they want to provide something fun to their neighbors, we only have these few publications on the west side of Denver. There's every other neighborhood. There's probably 40 different neighborhoods on the west side of Denver that could have their own publication. So if you just know folks that are interested in something new, please connect us and we can tell them what it's all about. I love this role because it's very flexible. So I had a very corporate background and then, had kids, left that behind, and I didn't want to go back to that crazy work week. I wanted to be flexible and be present with my kids and in the community, and so this has kind of filled all those buckets. So it's really fun for that. And you were already used to working very in a flexible capacity. So
yeah, my other business is in travel, so that's been a very big roller coaster. So I need something a little more consistent. Yeah. And it's been really fun and really rewarding getting out, meeting everybody, and
yeah. And I'm social. I know you are too.
Yeah.
We want to just sit and chat with people. So, I already talked about like the hiring on this episode. Okay, so when we sponsor, as a business, something local, right? We're providing that value, whether it's an event or a little league team or the private neighborhood publication. And what we're providing to the neighbors with the publications is the opportunity to write content for their neighborhood, to share things they're passionate about. So these are just a few articles that I screen grabbed from the proofs of our own neighborhood publications in Applewood and Golden. So this one was really fun. These two articles were written by middle schoolers. So two little girls that were very passionate about environmental concerns that they had learned about, they got to write these letters to the neighbors, and we published them. And so now they're published authors, which is so fun. We gave them extra copies. It was like, oh, look what we got to do. And I also work with the Golden radio station. So that was something that piqued my interest while you were talking. So 96.9 The Cloud, and we promote a lot of the same businesses in Golden. So we do a podcast once a month and just talk about what's in the magazine, and we air it on the radio. And he read the letter, or he had the little girls read the letters and then played them on the radio because we connected them. So it was really fun to partner on that. So anyway, this is the value you get to provide to the neighbors. So all of our campaigns come with very geo-targeted digital. So this is what the second component of the campaign is. And this just goes to all the devices in the same neighborhood. So it generates more impressions for the sponsor, and it isn't the whole magazine that gets put out digitally. We haven't found value. People don't really read the whole thing online. So that just goes in the mail, and then the sponsor's ad gets put out digitally to all the neighbors in the zip codes touched by the magazine distribution. So that ends up being a really big footprint digitally compared to the publication. So for West Highland, for instance.
Yeah, so basically you see the magazine distribution, it's basically Sheridan to Federal, and then from 38th to 29th. But the actual zip codes is 80211 and 80212, which is much larger. So all of that coverage is just compounding the effectiveness of the ads.
So the digital goes out to 50,000 residents, but the print goes to 3,358. So this is where you build the warm, fuzzy feeling about the brand, and this is where you get kind of the extra impressions, which is fun.
So you're on their coffee table, you're on their dining room table for the month. They go back and look at the events calendar or whatever, and then they're seeing you on their phones and on their laptops when they're just doing whatever.
Mm-hmm. And then this is the Wheat Ridge one. So there's 3 zip codes touched by the Wheat Ridge distribution. So we're going to call that one the Ridge. It's going to be the name of the publication, and it'll go to 3,344 homes. So it's Kipling to Sheridan, so just adjacent to West Highlands, and then 38th to 20.
I think yours goes to 26.
Yeah. So that's 67,000 residents when you hit all 3 zip codes with the digital. So the third thing we use is positive PR. So we already talked about how we do good news. And so when you're doing something as a sponsor or a neighbor or whatever that is exciting and good for the community, we'll share it, in the magazines and on our social media pages that belong to the magazines. So each magazine can have like a Facebook page, and we'll share content there and highlight things that are happening in the neighborhood. And often, we work ahead of the game 2 months because it's print. So sometimes we'll get requests to share things that is after that time, so it's too late for the magazine. So that's a really fun opportunity for us to put it into social media. Here's some examples of that positive PR though. So we have businesses that sponsor specific pages for the neighborhoods that are not only aligned with their business, but also a fun thing for the neighborhood to have in the publication. So Rise Dance, which is where my little girls go to dance class over in Applewood, they sponsor the Kids Corner, which makes sense. And then we have a local gal that does crafts, and she provides like a, craft for the page each month. And then realtors can sponsor like the market update, so that people are seeing what their home value is worth compared to the sales in the neighborhood recently. And these tend to go pretty fast. So if you know folks that you're like, oh my God, they would love this, connect us, because people jump on those.
And that real estate page, people open the magazine just for that. I mean, people want to know what home values are, what homes are selling for, so it's just, again, more eyeballs on the publication.
Yeah. And then our new thing is a sports section. So this could be a neat partnership. So we're highlighting local sports in the publications now and online. So all ages and stages, Pee Wee to Pro, we're writing articles about athletes. And in the November issues, I don't have copies yet. I was hoping they'd get here so I could bring them today. But we interviewed Yul Moldauer, who's the gymnast from Golden High School that was just in Tokyo competing for the Olympics. So we got a bunch of information from him. It was really fun to connect with him. And then we have Golden's basketball coach we're interviewing for the December issue in Golden. So we want to connect with all these athletes. So if you know folks that are doing really neat things, let me know.
And I don't have kids, so I don't know anything about the schools in West Highland area. So if you guys have any connections, like I don't even know where to start. So
yeah. But this
so
is
I need to figure that out.
And it's really fun, to connect and just tell those stories. And they don't have to be pro. It can be kids, it can be adults. We featured a Pee Wee football team and a traveling competitive girls softball team in Golden. And we're talking with Annie Coons, who was the decathlete in the Olympics. She's from Applewood. So, just connecting with those folks. Like, I know you guys know people, just connect us. And then, so we'll interview them, but this is also a sponsorship opportunity. So if a business wants to sponsor, all the sports in the community, this is a great way to do it rather than picking and choosing one team, or one organization. And when they sponsor it, they can choose to sponsor the coach of the month or the high school sports of the month or the youth sport, whichever page they want to be on, or just be a general sponsor. So this is Liz. So she is the owner of Better in Motion. I'm sorry I couldn't get a better picture. So she is one of the sponsors of the sports section. She's a personal trainer and Feldenkrais practitioner. And so this is what she had to say just about, working in it. She had a referral just after her first issue, and she recommends just connecting with us. I'm a compulsive connector. I know you are too. Like, even folks that haven't, come on board in the magazines, and I was like, oh, you need to know this person. Let me get you guys together.
Yeah, we're literally out talking to all the businesses, the homeowners, the residents. We're like trying to hit up as much as we can. So if anything, we can be a referral partner for everyone.
Totally. And then this is one of our neighborhood Facebook pages. And what's interesting here is this is the sponsor, Aardvark Estate Sales. So this gal does estate sales, and then she ends up with a lot of stuff left over, and she opened a store in Applewood. So she sponsors Applewood Living, but she doesn't have her own Facebook page. So what we do is we share for her on our Facebook page, which already has all the neighborhood followers. So it's nice to, connect her that way. But we'll share anything on those pages for the neighborhood about what's happening. So this is everything that's included when a sponsor comes on board. So ad design each month, print placement, digital ad targeting and placement for that geo-targeted neighborhood, monthly impression reporting on the digital placement, content sponsorship if they're choosing some specific thing to sponsor, hyperlocal social, which are our Facebook pages, and then of course unlimited communication with us. So this is everything that someone gets, and whenever they sit down with us and go over it, we just kind of drill down on what they'd like to do. A a lot of our sponsors choose campaign links and pages based on, you know, their own personal interests in the community or their business interests. There are definitely ways to save on these campaigns. So 2 neighborhoods, if they go into 2 different neighborhoods, they're 20% off both. 3 neighborhoods, 30% off both, which is like a neighborhood for free, so that's really nice. And then 4 neighborhoods, 40% or more. 40% is the maximum discount we're allowed to give because we do have a parent company, so it doesn't go above that.
But once we're in print, there's rules. Like we can like skirt around some of the rules before we're in print, but once we're done, the discounts go away. So
yeah. So these are just some reviews that we've gotten on the Facebook pages from neighbors. So they get the magazine in the mail and they just were kind enough to go visit our page and leave her reviews. This is Becky. Looks forward to her magazine every month, loves learning about the neighbors and seeing new businesses and what services and products they have to offer. So she's using it specifically to find, you know, ways to spend her money. Jessie got to be a cover family, and she loves it because they, you know, get to share their passions and support each other. She's written an article as a neighbor to the community and just talked about having fun, you know, being that featured family. And then Sarah, same thing, they got to be a featured family in Golden, and they like reading the articles, seeing the events. And then she actually got a lot of feedback and included that here because her neighbors and friends gave a lot of feedback that they saw on the cover and learned some about it. My family had to like stand in. My husband did not want to be on the cover. But there was a month that the family couldn't do it, and I was like, it's us! So we did it, and then later he was remarking even about how in the hallways at the elementary school, when we were picking up our kiddo, people had stopped him in the hall and were like, oh yeah, we saw you, Doug, we know about you. And he was just like, ugh. And then my daughter, who was in kindergarten at the time, was coming, and she didn't even know we had done it, you know, that she had been on the cover, because she's like in her own kindergarten world. But people would stop her in the hallway, and she was like, am I on the cover of something? Like, what is happening? So it was pretty funny. She got to be famous. So this is a business profile. This is where we write an article about the neighbors, and this is a perk that 24 issue campaigns get. So the campaign lengths are 12, 24, and 36. As you go longer, you get perks. So this is a business profile where we will introduce the business owner to the community, and you get that for free with a 24 or 36 issue campaign.
it's like a full page bonus, basically.
Yeah. Thank you, gift.
Almost, yeah.
These are a couple of those types of articles that we've done.
And we're also doing like nonprofit spotlights too.
Yep.
So like we'll have a business sponsor like a community quarter, and then they get to help us pick what nonprofits like that are special to them. So like we work with businesses about what they're passionate about, what you guys want to feature.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's just what the business owner's passionate about.
Yeah.
Like, sure, they got their business and they want to advertise it, they want to get referrals from the neighbors, but they're really passionate about supporting this aspect of the community, so they want to sponsor a page about that part of the community. And then if you're a 36 issue sponsor, you get some other perks, including getting your business card in the front of the magazine in this expert area. And then that comes with writing optional articles. So these are a lot of businesses that write articles. But some of them don't even write, they just wanted that so they could have their business card there, and only one business per specialty can do that, so we don't have like 10 dentists.
Yep.
Really what we would have is 10 realtors because they love this the most.
Totally.
So it's one business per category, and some people like that exclusivity. And this is just an example where one of them wrote an article.
And the article is basically like a blog in print, so if you're writing already, it's just like you may have a few hundred people see your blog if you share it online, whereas this, thousands of people can see it.
Mm-hmm. And then these are a couple reviews from current experts. These are 36 issue campaign holders. Jennifer Temke, I don't know if you guys know her, but she owns 2 businesses in Golden. So she's got the Connects Workspace, which is a co-working space above in the Armory building, and then Cafe 13 is on the bottom level. So she writes articles sometimes. And anyway, her feedback was, as a local business owner, I've seen a good return on my advertising dollars with Golden Living because it speaks to my audience about things that are relevant to the community, which is exactly what we want. And then Colleen and Mark, they own a tree care company in Wheat Ridge. And when I met them, they were recommended because one of my neighbors was using them to trim their trees, and she was like, I want you to promote these guys, they're great. And I was like, all right. So we sat down, and what they had been doing to market was spending a lot of money in direct mail to a huge wide audience, right? So they were sending direct mail all the way up to like Fort Collins. And so they were like, we don't want to do that anymore, Valpak and some other stuff. And not only was it way too expensive, they were sending out coupons and they would get a call from a coupon user who would never call them again. So it wasn't a long-term customer that they built a relationship with. So what they wanted to be was the go-to tree care service provider for the neighborhood where they live, you know, and they love Applewood because there's a ton of trees. So anyway, they became that expert sponsor, and they gained valuable clients in the neighborhood. They're being called repeatedly by the same clients. They're not driving to Fort Collins. They're not reducing their prices with coupons. And so anyway, they really loved that, and they love educating. They write great articles about, like, you know, how to keep your trees healthy, and I'm learning, and now they're my tree care company. That's the other thing too. I learn about a lot of businesses, and I'm like, I will hire you right back, like right this way, and then we, you know, partner up, and so it's a lot of fun. So anyway, that's just some feedback from the folks who are in that role. So this month we have some specials, and we are rounding up our final group of charter sponsors for these 2 new neighborhoods. Charter sponsors are folks that become a sponsor before it's in print. So anyway, in October, Best Virgin Media is allowing us to do these 2 25% off discounts on the first month, in addition to any other discount. So if it's like a, you know, say they're going into 4 markets and they have 40% off, in that first month it's then 90% off if they take advantage of these 2. So it's pretty cool, but it goes away at the end of October. So how we're using them is if you're a member of a chamber or a business association that we're members of, it's 25% off that first issue just automatically. And then you also can get 25% off if they decide they want to do this. They book an appointment and they, you know, sign up for a campaign that day. That can be a second 25% off. If it's an in-print magazine, then they can get a free ad size upgrade in the first issue if they decide to run with it in that first appointment. So those are just some incentives we're allowed to offer. And then charter sponsor perks. So anyone that's a charter sponsor gets all of these things. And this is new, and they didn't do this when I was launching Applewood. So like all those Applewood folks and Golden folks didn't get this because it didn't exist then. So charter sponsors get a free ad size upgrade in an issue at some point in the campaign. They just pick what they want. They get included in a thank you page to all of the businesses that are the charter sponsors. So really highlighting them to the community. The reason you got this magazine this month is because of these businesses.
And please go use them. Please go patronize their services because they provided this to you.
And they're continuing to do so each month. You also get 5% off of the full campaign, and then an article to write that we will include in a future issue. So that's kind of fun right now. So this is the time for these 2 neighborhoods, like if you know folks that are interested, because all this stuff, the charter sponsors go away, or the charter sponsor perks go away once it's in print, and then these things we can only do till the end of October. I think this one is still going to be available, the ad upgrade, but these 2 go away.
Yep.
We had them, they launched those during COVID because businesses really needed help, and so it was a way for us to make it more affordable to start out, but now they're taking it away. And so anyway, there's a referral program too. So I've been telling everybody about this. Barely anybody takes advantage of it, but if there's a sponsor in the magazine who knows a business, so like you guys are sponsors in West Highlands.
Which I have not told them about, so yes.
Yeah, so if you refer business owners.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Am I that one that wasn't up there? I didn't qualify for that?
Oh, no, you did.
Oh, okay.
You did.
You're good.
Well, and you can't use it till it's in print, but if you refer folks now who become sponsors, then in future issues you get an ad upgrade for free. So it's just like a thank you program. So
And that's unlimited. So if
you can do it every month.
You can do it every month. It goes from absolutely.
Yeah, 1 upgrade for each referral. Yeah.
Yep.
I just had a realtor come on board in Applewood, and she referred her partner, a mortgage broker, who came on board. So now the realtor has the ad, and she's like, nice, because they want to refer to each other anyway. So it's like the perfect combination. So I also felt really badly about the paper when I got started. I have a master's in sustainability, and so like I do everything in my house not to use paper, and here I'm starting a magazine. And so anyway, to offset my guilt and the paper usage, I started a campaign with the Arbor Foundation, and I've planted 600 trees to offset each page and all of the issues that I have been responsible for.
And I plan on doing the same with mine.
Yeah.
Do that.
So, and these community campaigns are open to the whole neighborhood, so I'm gonna start promoting it to the neighborhood because anybody can plant trees for these campaigns and we can raise, the forest back up together because they're going, right now they're replanting Pike National Forest, so not far from here. They're basically using the trees to replant forests that were damaged through forest fires.
And also keep in mind that these magazines, people hold on to these. There's recipes, there's articles, there's all this stuff. There are people that have stacks of them.
Oh,
We
yeah.
hear stories all the time of people like
I
holding on
get
to them.
calls from, one mom was like, I lost it, someone tossed it, I need the craft, so I sent her a new one. And then they've got other people that literally catalog them. And, keep them like I do for work, but they hang on to them and they like them, so.
As opposed to a newspaper or something that they look at it once and it goes right in the recycling bin, so.
Yeah, we often get requests to be added. So if you guys live in one of these neighborhoods and you're not getting the magazine, let me know because then we just need to add you. It goes out automatically, but sometimes I'll get someone calling and being like,
Is it
hello.
businesses too, or just residents?
Just residents.
And
And that's
actually
what it's-
homeowners,
Yeah,
I think technically.
only homeowners, yeah. Because we want, the folks that are long-term residents to receive it and love it and all that, so.
But if a business sponsors, they can request some to have.
Oh, you always
yeah.
get them, yeah. We
Absolutely.
deliver them to you.
We personally deliver them.
Unless you're really far away, and then I will mail it. So that's kind of it. So if you guys are interested in learning more, I think for the marketing folks in the room, we definitely need to talk about how to partner up and stuff because.
I was
You
just
can always
gonna
make
say,
referrals.
our specialty is in SEO development, so we could help a lot with the implementation side of your ads and really get you a really low cost per click report.
So those we don't. So the publishing
That's all
company
corporate.
handles it for us, and they are getting super it's insane what the dollar amount spent is versus the impressions or whatever. But they're not per click ads; they're just impressions.
It's really simple.
Generate.
Just
It's
a
really,
reach type campaign.
Yeah, it's very to get the impressions out there. So we're seeing 25 to 30,000 impressions per month per sponsor who has the digital. Digital was brought to our campaigns in I don't know, a year ago maybe. So some of my sponsors haven't added it yet because they were already doing something.
same with me. When I started, I didn't have it, but it's really simple. It's plug and play for our sponsors. We take your approved print ad and we just plug it in, run it, and it's just Facebook and Google display ads. So it's really great for people that aren't doing anything or don't know what they're doing.
Totally.
Or-
my Arbor
or-
antique store.
Or for businesses that do really complicated things, this is just an extra campaign.
Or who are spending
To
too
compound
much.
it,
Yeah.
And it's really affordable, so.
Yeah, I've had some people switch over because they were spending $1,000 a month on digital, whereas this was way less. So it was helpful. But they weren't doing some of that higher level stuff. And a lot of times you want your both.
Yeah, we kind of recommend both. So.
Yeah.
So if anybody signs up, you've heard from Spangler. We appreciate
Full magazine.
I'll figure
the
it out.
Spangler edition. Holy shit.
So along those lines, Meg, so what's your ideal client? Because we all know people.
Yes,
What's
thank
your ideal
you.
client?
Home services seems to love this a lot. So we have a lot of plumbers, flooring, HVAC. Those are wonderful referrals for us because they love to do print marketing and they like to micro-target, but they're usually spending a lot more on it than they need to. And so we're a savings opportunity for those types of businesses.
And do they have to kind of, live in that, not necessarily live in that area, but target that area? Or?
They have to
Just
want to
target.
serve the area.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Yeah, so any businesses, if you guys are in Wheat Ridge or Golden or anywhere else, but you want more clients in West Highland, then you want to target that neighborhood. Obviously, if you're in the neighborhood, it's just adds to that community vibe, but that's not,
Your business doesn't have to be there, but you have to want to serve that neighborhood.
Exactly.
And then, HVAC's a great example. So we have one HVAC company that's in 9 of our publications in Colorado.
And we need more to compete with them,
Right.
because it's
He's-
you don't want
he's
just
taking
one.
over. But anyway, he can't get in these ones till they're in print. And so tell the HVAC companies now.
I only have one HVAC company so far, so I need
Yeah.
another one.
I don't think I have any in Wheat Ridge yet. And that's the
I
other
might be
thing.
yeah.
So the other thing about these publications is a lot of times there's just one business from that industry, which is great for that business because there's not a lot of competition. stay like that all the time, and we don't guarantee it, but a lot of folks like it because they find that for a year or two, they're the only ones, you know?
What are his statistics on lead generation? Because he's in 9 publications. Do you guys get his statistics on that?
No, so because it's branding, you know, it takes what 9 to 12 impressions for brand awareness, right? So you got to be like 9 to 12 places or more. So we don't track the leads from it because it isn't helpful when they're advertising here, and
It's
here.
not.
because
Yeah, they don't
you
know
can
where
ask.
it
That type
comes
of
from.
management system.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
mean,
like for Spango, what if somebody saw you at the street fair and then they saw you, you know, at some other event and then they saw your ad or they saw you online or a friend? Well, eventually they're gonna go, hey, I'm gonna go look you up online, and then you're gonna say, where did you hear about me? I found you online. Well, that's not.
right. They
you
saw
know,
you 8 other places.
There's no way to
Because
track
it's
it.
present.
Yeah.
So with branding, it's hard to track that, but what we do track is the renewal rate of the sponsors, which in Applewood and Golden is 90%. So
And that's
in the
what we
middle of the
saw.
And
pandemic,
that's unheard of in print.
they're sticking with it because it is working. And we get a lot of, you know, feedback, just general, like those reviews, but not everybody takes the time to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't have that, but I do have, and I've got people that doubled down, you know, like Lutheran Hospital's getting ready to add another market. They've been in Applewood since the beginning, but they're also moving to Applewood, so it kind of makes sense.
So you think they're just branching out from where they were marketing?
They're just adding more
Yeah.
magazines.
So it's gonna be Weebridge and Applewood now.
They're gonna do Golden and Applewood. And then I have a realtor who took the second page in Apple, so he was in Applewood with the back cover for a year. And he was funny, he called me and he got the magazine in the mail because he lives there, and he's like, is the back cover open? And I was like, well, I can make an appointment with you. And he's like, is the back cover open? Because that works. And so he took that, and then he took a second page the second year. So, you know.
So to piggyback on your question, we have a lot of realtors and we're running out of spots for realtors.
Yeah.
They love this, it works so great for them. So we just have a couple of spots left. We've actually had some that like, oh, we just didn't have what they wanted. So it's like, you gotta get in
wait for a
early.
new market.
The markets that I have open that is a really good spot is insurance agents, financial advisors, like attorneys are great. Because they can write articles and like educate people. Those are really good spots that I'm looking for.
Yep. Yeah, folks that want to educate with articles, folks that want to sponsor sports. So just like business owners that are passionate about sports, those are who I want to connect with to get, you know, them into the sports section.
And I also want to do a pet adoption page. So obviously vets and anybody involved with pets would be great.
Yes.
But all the vets in this area are full and don't even take new clients and won't even talk to me. So I don't know.
I know. Yeah, it's,
So it would be ideal to find a business that just is passionate about animals.
Yeah. We all should have been vets. So I also need a restaurant bar, Joe, because
Oh, I
in
need
Golden, what I did, so the Buffalo Rose became a sponsor in Golden, and then we started a community happy hour once a month where we like launch the new issue and do, you know, a whole little party and invite everybody. So that could be really fun for Weebridge. And it would be fun to do that for like the first issue. And then you're
And I'm
looking for that
totally gonna do
in
that.
West Highland, yeah.
I haven't found the right place yet though.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, thanks for asking. But yeah, usually it's home services, but really any community-oriented business that wants to market their business to the neighborhood is great. And we have a wide variety. Like if you look through the publications, I mean, I have this gal on the cover, Golden. She's also a sponsor. You don't have to be a sponsor to be on the cover, but if you live in the neighborhood, of course, we want, you know, to promote you in any way we can. She owns a micro soapery out of her house. A soapery. She makes soap. And it's really good. And it has she has a subscription program, check her out. But it's like really non-toxic, healthy, you know, better for you soap products.
So next steps, if you or anybody you know is interested, is to set up a quick appointment with us. We just need to find out what your goals are, what you're interested in, and help you kind of customize it.
And I can actually give a testimonial for that because Stephanie and I met with Amber
It was a few
a while ago, like in July.
Yeah.
And literally the meeting we met at a little restaurant and we sat down for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and we collaborated. She had a nice little presentation on her iPad for us, and we just went through small little details. It wasn't anything complex. It wasn't anything, you know, like no hidden fees or no hidden. It was all up front. It's pretty transparent. And for us, like I said, that young business owner thing, it's really capitalizing on this area because you just don't see a whole lot of that. And it's now you're starting to see a little bit more of that. So that would be my testimonial. If you're looking at doing it, it's worth at least setting up a meeting. It's 30 minutes of your time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it should be on your radar for the future. If it's not a good fit now, we don't care. We want to learn about your businesses so we can make referrals and just be connected.
Yeah, if anything, we talked to enough people that were just good referral sources.
And I think there are a lot of options too. So you could go large scale, you could go small scale, you could kind of bounce
There's so
between
many
two.
options.
You can progress, you can stay. So
And you
there's
can
a
do
lot of
different
potential.
things in different neighborhoods. That's a good point. So like Rise Dance, for instance, they are in Applewood and they have a small ad in Applewood because they just want to stay present, but they're really trying to grow their market share in Golden.
It's awareness.
So they have a half page in Golden and an eighth page in Applewood and an eighth page in Green Mountain and an eighth page in
We've
Wheat Ridge.
seen as many places
Yeah.
as you can.
That's the
Yeah.
old little theater, right? It used to be the little theater.
Yeah, they're right
'cause
on
we go to
Youngstown.
Tellers all the time, and
Yeah,
it's right
just
next
across
to
the
him,
street.
and I'm like, by the way, Tellers is amazing. But
I
anyways,
know. Well, and I
have an
talked to
appointment
Chris.
with Sloan's next week.
yeah, I was just saying.
Chris Cummings, the manager there. So we were talking, but then the pandemic hit. It wasn't a good time.
Well, I would say this, just based on the presentation, it really was very interesting, and I think how the radio could possibly help is we do a lot of charity events with like Shiloh House, Big Brother, Big Sister, and stuff, and it'd be great to see maybe some magazine presence out there because how we help business owners is we'll get a picture with Joe and a Special Olympic kid bowling, and Vaughn Miller will be in the picture, and he's got that as people walk into the entryway of Pietro, and it paints a different light. It shows he's out in the community, and it shows him completely different from pizza and
Right.
salad and all these things that they're great at. And that
Same
does
concept.
really make a big difference in the way that people feel. Because first of all, I love this pizza, but it does, if I didn't know Joe, and there's, a lot of pizza we just mentioned, I think you said there's another pizza company out there, and there's so many competition, every little edge that you can get in the community,
Right.
including in a publication like this, I think really makes a difference because if your ad is in there, that community aspect separates our program from any other sports
Right.
show. Because I don't care about DMAC and all these guys, they may have a more popular show Monday through Friday, but you never see those guys physically putting sweat in the game in the community. And if you look at our Facebook page, Alex and I have over 500
Love
photos.
it. Yeah.
Plus we've raised $500,000 for these
So,
charities over the
Which
last 9
athletes
years.
live in Applewood and Golden that you know? Because I want them to be cover pictures.
Well, I know most I'm the CU Buffs correspondent, so I just went to a place, I can get you in touch with the guy who's the head of School of Mines, the coach of Mines, and they're undefeated.
I got on the sidelines for the homecoming game because I
Right.
met the photographer.
Well, they're undefeated, my point is.
Okay,
and
you
they're-
guys can talk for like an hour.
Yeah, we can. I'm sorry. I'll tell you what, I gotta grab my phone real quick. I had it charging and I wanna get some information.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
Any other questions while we're here? I can stick around for another, 30 minutes at least.
I definitely want to meet you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That's it.
Sounds great.
Well,
So
there's
you heard about us from
also
Spain.
there's also ways for you to help your clients get into the publication, so
that's
you don't
my
have to.
biggest point because
This
we
could
have
be
a lot of
another thing.
clientele that are realtors,
Yeah.
financial managers,
And the thing about this, unless you live in the neighborhood that this comes to, you wouldn't know it exists. It's under the radar. So
Right.
it's just,
Yeah.
You know.
Or if you just happen to meet us, but
yeah. We can only be so much.
True. There's only 4 of us in the whole Westover area so far.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening, guys.
I don't know if Hunter was gonna do this, but is it possible for you to put up like your business logo and
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't want to miss an opportunity. And then forward that to all of us.
Recording.
Last
the-
time.
No, it's all right. I'll stop it. We can stop now anyways.
Oh, yeah. So you can tag our pages like Apple
Stop.
Living or